The city is under siege. Russian troops are advancing. The ground is shaking from artillery fire. Most people are panicking. But in a dark, damp bomb shelter, a woman named Kato Lom is doing something insane. She isn't crying, she isn't talking to anyone, and she definitely isn't looking for a language exchange partner. She is sitting in the dust, clutching a stolen Russian novel and a dictionary. She is decoding the enemy's language, word by word, in total silence. By the end of the war, she was fluent. She went on to learn 16 languages to a professional level, and she did it without ever being the life of the party. This is the strategy of the bunker polyglot, and it proves that everything the internet has told you about learning a language is a lie. If you are an introvert and you've been told you need to speak from day one to learn, you are being set up to fail. You don't have a motivation problem, you have a biology problem. And today, we are going to fix it. Let's look at the industry standard. Go to any language blog, any guru, any app. What do they scream at you? Don't be shy. Make mistakes. Talk to natives immediately. This is the extrovert ideal. And it works for extroverts. Because the extrovert brain runs on dopamine. They get a chemical high from social novelty, from the noise, from the risk of looking stupid in public. But that is not your brain. If you try to do this, if you force yourself into a noisy italki lesson before you are ready, you are not stepping out of your comfort zone. You are triggering a cortisol spike. Cortisol is the stress hormone. When it floods your brain, it shuts down the hippocampus. Do you know what the hippocampus does? It retrieves memory. This is why you freeze. This is why you know the word when you're alone in the shower, but the moment a native speaker looks at you, your mind goes blank. You aren't stupid. You are chemically blocked. The industry is trying to force you to run software that is incompatible with your hardware. But here is the good news, the twist. Introversion is not a barrier to fluency. It is a biological advantage, but only if you switch fuel sources. While extroverts are chasing dopamine, your brain thrives on a different neurotransmitter, acetylcholine. This is the chemical of deep work. It releases during calm, focused, solitary concentration. It powers the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. This is where long-term memory is actually built. Extroverts are the hares. They start fast, they speak messy, but they often plateau because they are addicted to the interaction, not the precision. You are the tortoise. Science shows that information in an introvert's brain travels a longer physical path, the long acetylcholine pathway. It routes through the right frontal insular cortex. That's the part of the brain responsible for error detection. This is why you pause before you speak. The world calls it hesitation. I call it quality control. You aren't slow, you are buffeting. You are running a simulation to ensure accuracy, and once that data is locked in, it's there forever. So how do we leverage this? How do you learn a language without speaking it? We need to look at the silent period. In child development, kids listen for months before they utter a single word. They are building a map of the language. But as adults, we are told to skip this. We are told silence is failure. Steve Kaufman, a hyper-polyglot who speaks 20 languages, is a self-proclaimed introvert. He calls himself a language tortoise because he doesn't speak for months. He listens, he reads, he devours input. He waits until his passive reservoir is so full that speaking becomes an inevitability, not a performance. You need to stop viewing silence as passive. Silence is data collection. While the extrovert is busy thinking about what they are going to say next to keep the conversation alive, you are actually noticing the grammar. You are hearing the patterns. This is the observational advantage. But you can't just sit there. You need a protocol. You need a way to practice that doesn't spike your cortisol, but still builds the muscle. Here are the 3 steps to quiet mastery. Stop trying to have conversations, start shadowing. This is the introvert's flight simulator. Take a podcast or a YouTube video in your target language. Listen to it, then play it again and speak simultaneously with the speaker. You are not generating the words, you are mimicking the rhythm, the speed, the intonation. This engages Broca's area, the speech center. Without the social anxiety, you can do this alone in your room. You can do this for hours. And here's the pro tip: record yourself. Because your brain has that high-functioning error detection circuit, when you listen back, you will self-correct. You don't need a teacher to tell you your accent is off. You will hear it. Step 2. Leverage your voices. Introverts have a loud internal monologue. Lev Vygotsky, the famous psychologist, called this inner speech. It's how we process reality. Use it. Have full arguments with yourself in Spanish while you wash the dishes. Narrate your drive to work in Japanese. This is the shower conversation, and it has one massive advantage over real conversation: the gap check. If you are talking to yourself and you realize you don't know the word for faucet, you can stop. You can pull out your phone. You can look it up immediately. That creates a just-in-time memory link that is unbreakable. In a real conversation, you just smile and nod and miss the learning opportunity. Finally, when you do have to speak to humans, do not engage in small talk. Small talk is kryptonite for introverts. It's boring, it's low stakes, and it drains your battery. Instead, build language islands, a concept from Boris Schechtman. Pick a topic you are obsessed with: coding, gardening, World War II history. Learn every single word related to that topic. Write a script, memorize it. Create a tiny island of fluency where you are the expert, so when you enter a conversation, you steer the boat to your island. How are you? I'm good. I was just reading about the Battle of Stalingrad. And suddenly, you are on your turf. Your confidence spikes. Your cortisol drops. You are using your deep, long-term memory, not your shaky working memory. Kato Lom didn't learn 16 languages because she was fearless. She learned them because she was focused. She viewed language not as a performance, but as a code to be cracked in solitude. You do not need to change your personality to learn a language. You do not need to pretend to be a social butterfly. You need to embrace the monk mode. Stop apologizing for your silence. Your silence is where the engineering happens. The extroverts might speak first, but the introverts speak best. Go get your input.